but I'm here with you on Facebook. Give me 1 second. All right, I think I got everything done. Hey everyone, you've tuned into That Girl, Jenna Kurosawa on Anchor FM, streaming here live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So, hey there, YouTube. Hey, Facebook and Anchor FM. I'm sure you can hear me. Like always, if this is your first time listening, then I can only hope at this point that I am not wasting your time and that you can learn for something. If not, for that, I apologize. I'm on TikTok if you're interested in short little videos, Blogspot, through Google Blogger, very fun stuff, Pinterest, and Twitter. And I think that's it. So, anyways, just a recap from yesterday's episode, talking more about how people want to be treated, how care centers offering childcare for students, single moms, young families who are trying to, better themselves. So we're really grateful for those facilities, and as well as empowering women and figuring out what it is as females we actually want. So, like I said, I'm really grateful for an opportunity to talk here, and I'm streaming live on my Facebook as well as YouTube and Anchor FM podcast. Like I said, I'm that girl, Jenna Kurosawa. Let me give you a quick overview of what I'm going to be talking about today. So for my live stream people on Facebook and YouTube, you'll be able to see this. I'm just going to show you the magazine cover, not the cover. This was a magazine cover, and then people are commenting on it. So I'm going to be talking about this, a combination of Rosie the Riveter, Birth of Venus, an art depiction that this gentleman put together, and there's people making comments about it. And I have some observations I want to share with you as well. And I think it's a little bit more alarming than what many of these commenters are mentioning, such as not having, inclusion or not. So stay tuned for that. In addition, I was going to bring up the film Death Sentence. That one has John Goodman, if you can believe it, a huge psychological thriller. It's got Kevin Bacon as well. Great film. So I'm going to be talking about that. And lastly, also be very, very careful when you criticize someone's first point. And then the health crisis. Hello again. I'm that girl, Jenna Kurosawa. And with that, I'll go ahead and transition to the first section and start talking about that. So, like I said, I hope everyone's having a nice day, evening, whenever you're consuming this content. If you don't want to listen or stream, there is the overview that's going to be on my blog, or you can just read the description through the podcast on Anchor FM. So really fast, let me just jump into the cover photo of the California Educator with this Union Renaissance, Rosie the Riveter, and the Birth of Venus. I don't have the original magazine. I showed it the other day, and I don't know where it's walked off to, but I'll show you a small little square of it. Let me see if my YouTube people can see it, and I'll post a picture in the links. So if you guys can see that, I don't have the original magazine. I showed it the other day, but for you want to get a good look and share your opinion on it, it's a combination of this. Like I said, Rosie the Riveter, we can do it. That scene where she's, has her fist up, Venus in the water with the flowers, long flowing golden hair, the very serious somber look, like she's getting serious about this. Okay, so I saw this. This came out in June, July, this cover, and I was really impressed because they had this outdoor classroom, the SOUL, which is Sustainable Outdoor Learning Environment, and I thought it was a beautiful piece. I'm like, there's just a woman who's serious about getting some work done, and I didn't think anything of it. But so let me read some of the comments, and you'll understand. Let me just read the editor's note, and it says, a few members raised good questions or put good points about the cover illustration on our June-July issue. which represented the renaissance of unions and educator activism. Okay, and also let me give credit to where credit is due because, like, I said it. I absolutely thought this was beautiful. It was done by Bob Venables or Venables. It's Venables. So he did this artwork. I thought it was stunning. I didn't even think anything of it. But let me read the comments really fast. One of them: I was startled to see Rosie represented as even whiter than the original dark-haired, dark-eyed model. Too bad the artist did not create an image of blended ethnic heritage to reflect the changing demographic of teachers. Saying this word right. Anarchist, anarchist. I'm having a tongue time right now. Stereotypes. I'll just spell it out for you because I cannot get the proper pronunciation from the CTA NEA. Submitting a comment. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion as well. Next comment is very disappointed in the new Renaissance Rosie choice. In my view, it speaks to the dominant culture. Why not look deeper? There are plenty of beautiful works of art you can borrow from that depict Black, Hispanic, Asian women. I thought as a union we were heading in another direction. Here's another comment. I could not help noticing that the woman does not even have her biceps contracted. She is not putting effort to go with the "we can do it" title of the original Rosie illustration. Her arms look weak. Why not have contracted biceps? Aren't women allowed to show their strength? Okay, let me just go over these 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the editor's comment. First of all, these are all written by females. I won't give you their names, but you can check it out on yourself, on your own. They're all written by females. It's a picture that someone else made. It's not a real person. It represents people, I guess, in mythology or history, actual people. It represents them. But they're so focused on, she doesn't look strong. She's too pale. You know, I'm like, okay, whoa. First of all, whatever happened to inclusivity and diversity, right? I mean, does it really matter? Really, I mean, if you're just going off of the aesthetic. And my next question is, someone made this and you're critiquing their work, and that's one of the reasons why people don't like to do art or express themselves, because you've got like a million different people who were just my point is, why couldn't the editor put any, were there no positive comments? Because I'm over here, this is a beautiful piece of work, you know, it's a great collaboration, I appreciate it. I don't know, my issue though, more so than them talking about inclusivity and pretty much complain that this person is too pale. You know, I have mixed heritage, all right? Stemming from African, Portuguese, Native American. I'm mixed. And my daughter, I have 2 daughters. One of my daughters, actually no, both of them have very, very pale skin. I posted it on my Facebook page, you know, part of her face. And when I look at this, I mean, like, how do you know that she's not mixed? How do you know it's not a representation of heritage and inclusivity? Like, if you were to look at my daughter, you would not see that. You would have a hard time at the first glance believing that, woman, that's my biological daughter. You know, take away the little glowing light and whatever. I have a light up here. She is pale. She has blue eyes, blue-green eyes. My daughter has blue-green, my biological daughter has blue-green eyes and pale skin like this. When I look at this, I'm like, I just see a woman. I see a white woman, and she looks like she's working hard. Okay, so that's my issue. Is like, you're just assuming that you know the person's heritage or racial background based off skin tone. Like, plenty of people can mix and like they're you know, we've got going to look, you know, what their racial background is. So that's why I'm kind of like upset when I'm like, okay, first of all, you got a whole bunch of women critiquing other women. Like, that's not something you're supposed to do. Like, we're not supposed to be tearing into other people, whether or not it's just an animated depiction. It's like, well, can we just stop that? First of all, like, does it really matter? And two, it's like, just because she has pale skin does not necessarily mean that she doesn't have any ethnicity or brownness or darkness in her. It's, and like, I've come to a point where I'm just so tired of this race thing where I'm like, it doesn't really matter anymore when everyone's acting the same, when you're all tearing into one another and severely critiquing one another. So that's my first complaint, where credit is due. And let's talk about the next comment. And I'm going to talk about what's actually more disturbing than the fact that this woman doesn't have strong biceps and she's too pale. Her hair isn't dark enough. She doesn't depict what other people assuming that she should be depicting. Okay, so let me just go ahead and transition and start talking about why this is even more disturbing to me looking at this image than being offended because it didn't have enough representation for your ethnic background. Because if you actually really look at the picture, I'll try to pull up some more images, but it's actually a lot more sad when you think about it. Okay, so the next comment is someone contributing from Liberty Education. I'm assuming, I really don't know, but it looks like a female name. I was crestfallen to see the juxtaposition of Rosie the Riveter with the birth of Venus as a representation of a girls who helped start unions in America in the early 1900s. Of the pride the Rosies had helping the war effort and their disappointment at being ushered back into the kitchen after the war ended, of the treatment of women as property during the Renaissance, and where equality for women stands now. Wow. There's more. I cannot pronounce the name, but Botticelli's idealization of a female as a young woman with high support her family and learned skills she never dreamed possible. Research shows, this is what this person is saying, research shows 90 renaissance for unions. We need a revolution for unions and for all women. And I'm like, that's what I'm about. That's the kind of comment I'm about. 90% of men and women have a bias against females today. And the three other comments critiquing the artwork is a good example. And I appreciate another opinion coming in here and actually digging deeper into what the artwork says or what it could, how the person could interpret it. There's a lot of things that could be said about this. So again, personally, I think Mr. Bob Venables did a nice job. I personally think it's a beautiful. What are we looking at here, and what can we learn from this? And the conversation is great. This woman over here on the last comment I read brings up a lot of points. It shows a lack of understanding of ferocity of the helping of the war effort and their disappointment at being ushered back into the kitchen after the war had ended, and the treatment of women as property during the Renaissance and where equality for women stands now. I'm like, thank you for submitting this comment and having some depth to it. I'm going to take it next level. All right. Again, she brings up a lot of good points, and I'm glad that it was posted in here. I would like to see something positive, people. Before I jump into that, let me defend also the magazine too, because if you want to assume that the magazine didn't have any depth to it, or it was just a poor representation of the California Teachers Association. I've been going through these magazines, like right here, the back cover, right here. I've been going through these magazines for years, and they've always done a great job to exemplify and to show and promote and just, the true humanity of the world, the diversity in our country. Like, they've always done that. So I was kind of disappointed that there were so many negative comments. The original issue that had the Rosie the Riveter hybrid with the Birth of Venus, one right here in the California Educator, going through that issue, I linked the article online. Hair Love. It's a little children's book. They also made it into a short movie on YouTube. A black father is trying to help his daughter do her hair. They're going to go see the mom. The mom's at home at the moment, and he's helping her get her hair done. So for the sake of discussion, and it's a short movie, it's like maybe 5 minutes on YouTube. I'll put the link in there as well. It's called Hair Love. This father, it's really cute. He's trying to help do his daughter's hair and do the hair. Well, it turns out at the very, very end, in the little videos, is the little girl's mother, and she's leaving the hospital. And I'm sure you can assume why she was in the hospital. I don't like to do spoilers, but it's a short movie. Go watch it. I'm just going to tell you, obviously the mom was sick, and she lost all her hair, and she was bald, and her daughter was trying to, encourage her and love on her despite her not having her hair. It's a super cute thing. I always tear up when I see it. And so let me just start this section letting you know that when I look at this, And people are like, why isn't she strong? Why isn't she strong? Why isn't they do her biceps? Can we just be real? And she's probably burnt out, and she's looks kind of sick, honestly. If you want to focus on skin specifically, exclusively, there's a huge crisis right now in our nation, and I think at the moment, from last I researched, some of the highest infertility rates, a lot of physical health ailments. But more importantly, though, we could talk about that movie, Hair Love. The mother is sick, and I keep hearing about how many people are coming down with cancer, who are recovering from cancer. So when I see this and everything else that other women thought about the treatment of women and how we actually empower women, and we need, in the exact quote, we need a revolution for unions, and for all women. A revolution here represents to me a woman who works hard. It's a hybrid of all of these things. Women are suffering, like women are being hurt. To me, I just see a hardworking woman, and this is a possible cry for help. Again, in this exact same issue, there is talking about the short film and the little children's book, Hair Love. And in that book, the mother is getting out of the hospital and she's lost all her hair and she is sick. To me, when I look at that, I don't see, oh, well, she doesn't represent my heritage or my culture. At this point, it's irrelevant. How can you even tell? Like I told you, my daughter has blue eyes. My other daughter has hazel eyes, and the other one in her eyes, it's blue in the middle and then green around it. She's got curly hair that's not the typical coarse, thick, full, luscious, kinky, whatever you want to call it. It's like, at this point, does it really matter? Like, we need to just seriously, like, get it together, get on the same page. You know, there's a lot that needs to be discussed. She talked about the immigrants, the other people who helped. You know, there's other ethnic groups that could be represented. And I'm sure there's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda. But this is what the artists, we're having everyone has their opinion on the issue. For me, it hits a little bit closer to home because my children have light skin. And you're going to sit there and tell them they're not, with the diversity, they're not dark enough, they're not black enough, they're not white enough, because of another, and learn from our history. That's another thing too, is like, we can be arguing. I get teared up when I watch that little short story, Hair Love. And when the mom, she takes off her scarf, and and you see that she's bald, and her daughter gives her a hug, and it's just like, and I look at this woman, it just reminds me of the health crisis going on. So many women, especially women of, I guess, the Anglo-Saxon, Celtic, I don't know, ancestry, paler skin, they're having huge infertility rates and health problems. Middle-aged white men have the highest suicide rate in the country right now. And it's like, do we care? Are we concerned about each other's health? How do we treat one another? I talked about yesterday, like, how do we actually treat one another? How do women want to be treated? And one of the things that I think there's a consensus is, like, can we just stop tearing into one another? Can we just figure out who has the strengths and attributes that will be productive and conducive to a thriving society? Do you have those traits and attributes to help people? Are you selfless? Are you willing to sacrifice your time to help and improve the quality of life and others around you? Because at this point, it doesn't really matter if everyone is sick and everyone is dying. If everyone is like riddled with anxiety and mental health and depression and psychosis and poor eating habits to the point where it gets affecting your physical health with, I don't know, blood pressure or diabetes or low blood pressure. There's a myriad of things going on in the country. And this is what we're trying to do, is to identify the problems and not just treat the symptoms, but the actual problem. And one of the actual problems is people, like, just judging and tearing into one another. And like, Yeah, I mean, why not have contracted biceps? Aren't women allowed to show their strength? I'm like, how is that not showing their strength? Is an equally admirable for the fact that the women had to leave their homes to go work to support the war effort. That's pretty impressive. It's the entire. I mean, I felt obviously as a woman, but just can you just look at the facts? The fact that we can bring life into the world and have to pretty much stain everyone's life. Sometimes we get torn in so many different directions, wearing a million different hats, and then at the end of the day, still get thrown under the bus. I mean, you know what happens with cases of sexual assault and stuff like that. Guys want to cover up their affairs or their activities, and the woman's just like, "Oh, she's crazy, or she's a hoe, or she just cheated, or like I didn't do anything. It's her fault." That happens so much, and we just eat it. We just deal with it and keep going because what else can you do? So it's really frustrating as women that we're critiquing women. And I'm going to just say this quote one last time and then go on to the next section. Research shows 90% of men and women have a bias against females today. Yep. I find that very, very interesting. Kind of heart wrenching. I thought we were past it. So, with that depressing news, realizing everyone's sick, everyone's critiquing each other, and it doesn't seem that we've learned from history, um, let me bring up another interesting topic. I'm not going to be on here late tonight. Lots and lots of homework, but I don't know if any of you, I don't know why I like these type of movies, but have you seen Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon? And it does have John Goodman. I don't really know who else is in the movie. I'm a huge John Goodman fan, so yeah, definitely would like to cuddle up to him. But he plays more of a nefarious type of character. He's like, kind of like, he's not a good guy, he's not a bad guy, he's a guy in the movie, and he plays a badass. That pretty epic role. The premise of the movie is family. They experience a tragedy. There's like some type of gang initiation, and the dude, of course, is like he's just an average family man. His son gets killed, and then it pretty much just gets to the end where it's like I feel like this is going back and forth, going back to the year post before or the section before. When are we going to stop clawing at each other and going back in the movie? Because we have to also remember people have different lifestyles and different ways of conducting themselves and different family dynamics. Something focusing so much on one attribute to unify you with someone and exclusively, there's so much attached to family. There's so much attached to integrity, doing what's right with the health crisis, the mental health crisis. We're essentially all asking for a death sentence, whether it's just in your head too. That's another thing. I wouldn't be willing to say that out loud. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it next level right now. Just as bad, dude. Like if you allow whatever you're thinking still makes you that type of person. Like you're still a, you know what? Because this isn't up to me. Like if you think that your thoughts you're alone in your own thoughts and you're exclusive, I'm sorry. Like spiritual level, next level, like God status, integrity status. Everyone over here thinks, well, God, you got your secrets, you conduct yourself in your private affairs, whatever. The people who are upfront and honest and transparent, of course, you can easily attack them and target them and just do whatever you want because, like, you got your mental secrets, you got your thoughts running in your head, you got your evil vices and your little mental gremlins going on, speaking things in your head. You think you're safe? No, you're not. You're not better. And I trust probably won't. But I can assure you, if you don't get your mental train of thought in check with accountability, it's going to catch up, whether through your actions are going to change, or you probably won't see it until the end of your life. Everyone thinks, okay, yeah, my thoughts are safe in my head. There's other people out there. You call them what? Forces of good, God's people, angel, the Holy Spirit. So we talk about people's character. We talk about, retaliation and all this, or not to retaliate. I would challenge you, man. You don't even retaliate in your head. Don't dwell on those thoughts. Don't be negative. Don't be whatever. Don't be spiteful. Don't be criticizing. It will affect your character, your actions, your decisions. Um, Again, even if you don't say it, even if no one knows what you actually think or believe about something, if it's designed to be offensive to someone else, judgmental, or critiquing someone severely for just the sake of you want to tear into that, going to catch up to you. Sooner or later, it's going to become your permanent character, and the consequences are severe. It's not coming from me. It's not a threat. I'm not threatening you. I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you, though, get that in your head taken care of, because the world is changing very, very fast. And if you think, oh, whatever, it's innocent, it's fine, whatever. All right. Well, we'll see what happens, because these things fester. They really do fester. But like I said, I wasn't going to be up here talking too long. Honestly, I will probably expound on the health crisis tomorrow, because I just came across this like more than halfway through the day, the comments critiquing this artwork. And I was just like, I can't do it anymore. Like, my daughter grows up, despite her grandma, you know, coming from Africa, despite, it doesn't matter, you know, that's a damn shame. That's depressing, when we're going to just tear into someone based off exclusively off of skin color, and you're going to make assumptions like, oh, it's not dark enough. Oh, it's like, how do the people feel? If you have an interracial child whose mother is black and then the father is like what, Caucasian or Portuguese or Latin American with a really, really light complexion, and the child comes up with a light complexion, it's like, no, I do have a picture right here. Let me see. This is when my babies were babies. They're older now. I'm going to show you really fast, but I'll just show you her arm, because she's just so innocent and precious. I'll just show you her little arm. I don't want to show all my baby. Really fast, so you can see. That is one of my daughters. The other one, that's her big brother. This is when she was a baby. And like, you can see how pale her little arm is. So it just really frustrates me where people are so focused on, oh, well, like, she doesn't represent, the, what was it saying? Does not reflect, the artist did not create an image of a blended ethnic heritage to reflect the changing demographic of teachers in our population. I'm like, how do you know? They're like Native people with really light complexions and Hispanic people with really light complexions. Like, you're going to sit here and assume, like, they don't look... I'm sorry. I understand where they're coming from. I really do. I get it. But it's like, there's so much more we could be talking about. And one of, I guess I could see the frustration. If you want to talk about the health crisis going on right now with Black women, definitely I always talk about the issue of high mortality rates, also the highest abortion rate. I think they're still up there, the highest domestic violence abuse and homicide rates as well. So there is a crisis going on within the African American community, and especially with Black African Americans. Or Black Americans, because you have some people from Haiti, some people from Trinidad, but not all from Africa. The people who have dark skin. Letting you know, that's why I say Black Americans too, because you got Black people coming from other countries outside of Africa. But more importantly, though, yes, there is a crisis, a health crisis for Black women and a health crisis for white women. And I'm just going to say there's a health crisis. And the sooner we can get along together, the better it will be for everyone in the long run. That is going to be my argument. I know that everyone has a valid reason to be angry, to be offended, to fight their causes, to stand up on principle. Like, yes, absolutely. I in empowering women and focusing on better mental health. We need encouragement, or balance it out with positive. You can bring up these points. That's exactly why the magazine is here. This is what it's for, to have this open discussion, to bring up your point and your opinions, to defend your causes. Absolutely. This is why this magazine is here. This is why this artist has done this artwork for us to talk about and analyze and figure out what's really working in society and what's not working. To learn from our history and say, hey, this is not a good representation, or the way I interpret it, the way I see it, is like this is a mascot for or a culmination of a reoccurring theme, a reoccurring problem. You know, so can we let's actually learn from our history and prevent some of these things from happening. Is it possible? Is it possible to just say, hey, you know what? I don't know. That's where I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to say anymore about it. Like, I'm kind of speechless right now. There's just so many layers to this. So tomorrow, to balance it out and to be fair, I will spend more time talking about the health crisis within the Black community, within the Black women's community. I'll talk about that, and I'll also talk about the crisis in general, and everyone's health in general, and just bring out the numbers and say, hey, we got a health crisis right now, and we need it for the evening. Let me get this going. Right. Sorry about that. Okay, so in a positive note to end this, and this is why I absolutely love reading these articles. California Educator. Sorry. And it's for the August September 21 issue, Volume 26, Issue 1, Tools for Health and Well-Being, Ways to Wellness, Regular Exercise, Fresh Air, Walk More, Keep Regular Hours, Get Enough Sleep, Reduce Stress, Relaxation, Peace of Mind, Social Emotional Learning for You Too, Healthy Diet, More Fruits and Vegetables. Let me show you the cover. Woo! See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what we should be talking about. Like, women's issues, how they look, and representation. I have the woman right here. I'm sorry. I just have to. It's right up in here in the magazine. She's gorgeous. Just gotta say it. Like, strong women right here. That's what I'm talking about. A good variety. Good. And then here's a gentleman right here. Just a variety of just people, hardworking people, like right here. Just some dude right here, just chilling. This is what we're talking about. This magazine, these articles, they come out here. They show the teachers really getting down with their students, and we got our handsome California governor right there, looking good. The other issue has Kamala Harris looking really good up in there too. So definitely check out the one from June, July. So let me just give you a quick little. This is going to be my closing. But Patience Olajude, Associate Faculty of Health Science and Healthcare at Riverside City College, Assistant Professor of. I just introduced this one right here. So I will be talking more about Black women's health and women's health in general and the health crisis tomorrow. Just letting you guys know, like, part of our health is mental health, and we need to be building up people. Oh, I'm right here. So I brought up Hair Love right there. There's a cover for you to see. So if you are on the audio, sorry, I'll have to link the pictures if you want to see Hair Love. So this is what I'm talking about, such diversity and I think the cover of the other one is it's painting a different picture. It's discussing something else. And I'm so glad they're talking about health for the teachers, the educators, them getting encouragement so they can help get the children and the students up to where they need to be as well. It's not easy for anyone. It's life is hard. Well, like I said, we need to seriously get our mental health in check. And part of it is the thoughts we have in our head, and we sit here and think, oh, it's just my thoughts, or I'm just my alone in my own thoughts. It's like telling you now, your thoughts, it could be a cancer, it can infest you. Think love, think positive things, turn it around, don't be so quick to critique. That was one of the aspects to the movie Death Sentence. Be careful before you become what you do, not just for the people I'm talking to. Oftentimes I'm talking to myself. So with that, again, you've been listening to That Girl, Jenna Karasoa, streaming on Anchor FM, live on YouTube, good night YouTube, live on Facebook. If you want to check out the overview on blogspot.com, I'll put it over there. Also check out my other blogs. Some of them are pretty neat. There's TikTok, there's Twitter, there's Pinterest, and probably forgot the other one. I'll try to link all of them up. I'm catching up. Apologize for the inconsistencies, trying to get a better rhythm going. Like I said, though, I appreciate the opportunity to come talk to you. And if I have wasted your time for that, I sincerely apologize. And I hope you're having a good rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're consuming this content. Truly, God's peace.